So we want to show you what this looks like. We want to show you some interaction with the solution from a demo perspective. So what you're going to see now and what Tom's going to show is he's going to show how to contribute content to the system, tag it, show you a workspace feature. So as you get content into the system and you're not, let's say you don't have time or you want to come back and tag it later, show you this workspace feature that allows you to do that, as well as what that tagging process actually involves. So the feature, another feature of batch multi-upload and batch metadata editor is the ability to tag content as after it's already been in the system for a while, and I'll show you how to do that as well. So with that, I'm going to transfer over to Tom, and he will give you the demo.
All right. So now hopefully you can see my screen. I'm going to log in here to our environment. And really what I want to show you is how easy it really is to contribute this content into WebCenter and how you can contribute a lot of content at one time. So from the home page, you obviously have your check-in profiles, and with multi-uploader, you get this new option at the bottom. So you still have your you still have your unique profiles, but you have this additional multi-check-in option. And so here is the interface. It's really simple. It's really clean. So users coming to this will know exactly what they have to do. And so with that, I'll start my demo with the scenario that I'm going to use is kind of a marketing or maybe a creative service business user that's either just received a whole bunch of assets that they need to contribute, or maybe they created these assets themselves and they need to get them into WebCenter so that they can be used maybe online or in a catalog of some sort. So the files I'm going to contribute are on my desktop. And so right here, I've got a group of files that I want to contribute in. And one thing to notice too on the multi-check-in page is you can do a quick check-in where it's just going to get those files in, or if you open this, you actually have the same profiles you have in the new check-in option. So I'm going to select the marketing profile, and I'm going to drag those files over. You also can click choose files, and it will then browse your computer so you can grab them that way as well. But I personally am a fan of dragging and dropping, very simple. So you just copy those over, and what you'll see here is now some visual cues. You're seeing how or what stage in the process these documents are in. So you can see each file that I dragged over is in this list, and you can see that they are checked in and they're now being converted. So that's kind of the IVR process of, these are images and they potentially need multiple renditions, or maybe it's a Word document that needs to be converted to PDF. So you can see it doesn't take too long, but it gets converted, and then once it collapses like this, now they are all indexed and in the system. So you have a couple options down here at the bottom. I can start with the delete. If maybe you grabbed an item that you weren't actually wanting to check in, you could select just that item and delete it out of the system right away. You can email. So this is going to pop up an email and then provide you with a link to where each of these documents are in the system. So you could then send that to someone. And then there's also the tagging option. So that's what I'll click here to then be able to tag these items. And just another option is upload more. It'll provide you with another draggable and droppable area where you can tag more content in or drop more content in immediately. So I'll hit tag, and now what you're presented with is somewhat of a spreadsheet feel where it's got a row for each item that I checked in. On the left, what's really nice is a thumbnail in case you need a little more information. It kind of helps you remember which item is which. So that's a really clean way of seeing, especially for assets, digital assets, I should say. You can see exactly what you're checking in. And then here's the metadata that pertains to the profile I'm checking in. So what you can see here is it parsed the title of the file into the title here, but if you wanted to change that, you can certainly come in here and do so. And then also on the far right, we've got this customer metadata field. And say for this bulk upload, they're all Fishbowl solutions. So I select it for this one, and then what I'm able to do is drag and then tag this for multiple items. So you can see I'll drag and drop it all the way down because all of these are Fishbowl solutions. So you can see there, it's really nice. And then when you're done with their metadata updates, you just hit submit. It'll go through and it'll tag all that metadata on those items. So they are now tagged and released into the system. And so if I went back to my workspace, if I just did a quick search, those items are now going to show up right here. You can see they're in, and then they are tagged with the metadata that we updated. One other option that you have with the multi-file uploader, and Jason alluded to it earlier, is if you're wanting to just get these items checked in and you want to tag them later. So I'm just going to grab a few of these and just check them in again as a separate check-in. Just get them quick checked into the system. And then if you say had to leave for the day and you're going to tag them the next day or something like that. So say you're coming back into the system, you're going to go under My Content Server, and then you have this My Workspace option. So here is essentially your workspace. This is where these items are getting stored when you first initially tag them. They're not released and searchable by everyone. They're put in a special account that only your user is able to see as the contributor. But you're able to select those items, and then you're able to select a profile similar to what you could do earlier, and then you can tag that content. So same thing as earlier. Say these ones are Oracle, I'll go through and tag those. So it's really simple to add that metadata. And then the last thing I really wanted to show was, say there were items that were already contributed into the system, but you wanted to update them in bulk. Say all of the items we checked in just then were tagged as Oracle when really they should have been Fishbowl or something like that. You can run a search, so you could do a quick search, you could do whatever search to get you back the information you need. And then you have a couple additional options for you. So here you can select the ones you're wanting to re-tag, and then you have this advanced tagging actions item. You can tag selected or tag all. And what that's going to do is bring you back here to where you can configure the columns that are shown. So you can see here there are all of the columns shown in your system. So you can open this up and just uncheck the ones you no longer want, things like that. And then you can go through and say these were all tagged as Oracle, and I wanted them tagged as Google. So you can select that, scroll all the way down, tag them all, and then submit those updates. So that's essentially those three options that you kind of get with this tool.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, of course.
All right. All right. So hopefully with that demo, you saw a new way to very easily contribute content in the system, tag it, or come back and tag it later from the workspace perspective, as well as apply those mass metadata updates. So really, the purpose of our webinar today was to really introduce that new solution to you, get you thinking about new ways to help your organization get more value-add content, high-value content in the system, because we feel with more users comes more ROI from a WebCenter perspective. Really thinking about where this content, if it's not being shared, it loses some of its value, but if it was shared, what other channels, what's the reach of that content throughout your organization? Not only from a knowledge sharing perspective, but more this process-centric perspective where, in the example we shared, marketing assets, getting those served up to the appropriate channel, be it your website, portal, or mobile device. And as well that, a lot of when you're introduced with users that are seeing these forms for the first time to contribute content, but then add a bunch of metadata. You know, obviously, if they're not applying a lot of the metadata to those items, well, then those items are harder to find. So with this process, more interactive, being able to do it from a mass update perspective, you'll find that you'll have better tagged items, which then become easier to find within WebCenter. As well as from the administrative standpoint, so Tom showed, I think there was 13 assets initially that he pulled over in the demo, but we also spoke to the use case. That use case for that customer, the CDs or DVDs that they're getting contain hundreds of various content items that they're pulling over and tagging and getting into the system as well.